Please don't forget to subscribe and hit that bell for future videos. Thank you.
Hey, what's up guys? Houston here, and for those of you just finding my YouTube channel, welcome. Please remember to hit that subscribe button and that bell. Now today we're really finna jump into the game because we're going to be talking about Identityiq versus Credit Karma. And in a previous video I went into detail of why you may not want to use Credit Karma because of the dangers of it and how it can screw you up. Because with Credit Karma they're going to use Vantage, right? And so with Identityiq they're going to use FICO. Alright, and now here's the killer about this. With the Vantage score, again, with the Vantage score, you have a very few credit unions that use them. But most of the banks, they use the FICO, okay? Most of the banks, they use the FICO. Now, here's something that most people like Credit Karma because it's free, right? Great, but here's the issue. Your credit score can be anywhere from 50 to 80 points off. So that 700 credit score that you're seeing on Credit Karma, it can actually be a 620. So that's the reason that you probably want to continue on with using Identityiq, or if you haven't used Identityiq, it's probably better. And another thing about Identityiq versus Credit Karma, like everybody knows about the $1 million, right? So with the $1 million identity theft thing, right? But here's the thing about it. Credit Karma doesn't offer that, all right? And here's another thing. This $1 million identity theft, you don't think it's important, right? Okay? Well, here's the situation. There are people out there that use CPNs, okay? They're called credit privacy numbers, all right? And you have to understand this. So what they're doing, they'll make up a number that looks like a social security number. However, because they don't have a real way of checking to see if that number is legitimate or that number is not correlating with somebody else's number or coming across as somebody else's number, they can end up using your social security number to get credit. Okay? See, they think that they have a CPN number, but it actually is somebody else's SSN. It can be yours, it can be your kids, it can be your husband's. So this is why a lot of people are using Identityiq, is because people are using this CPN, this credit privacy number, but they don't know how to create them, so they end up using somebody else's social and they're getting credit and everything. And so people are ending up having to pay the liability or even go to court because they're like, wait a minute, I never had these accounts. And most people know the headache it is fighting with the credit bureaus already to prove that, hey, I never had these accounts. So you have to be very careful. That's the reason that Identityiq is offering the $1 million identity fraud protection, plus for each family member they're giving you $25,000, okay, per family member, depending on which program you use. Now here's something that you have to understand. Let's go back to FICO score and Vantage score, because you need to understand this. Like with Vantage score, you can have one account for 1 month and it'll give you a score, right? Well, with FICO, it has to be, if it's one account, it has to be active for 6 months in order for a credit score. So say that somebody that just came out of jail, or you have an elderly parent, or somebody that just always used cash and everything, right? So they have a dead file. Okay, the file is dead, so they don't have any accounts on it. So when they try to go to get credit and stuff like that, they're like, well, you don't have a credit score. And so what they mean by that, you don't have a FICO score, is because you don't have any accounts that are active. So this is the reason why a lot of people are getting denied if they never had credit, because they have a dead file. And most people don't explain it, but hey, here's the game, welcome to it. All right, now here's another thing that FICO did, like where you used to have like tax liens and judgments, right, which comes from public records. Now here's something that you have to understand. With FICO, they no longer report that. But with your Vantage, this will show up in your Vantage file. So your Vantage 4.0, you still will have tax liens and judgments show up. But in your FICO file, they won't show up, okay? And so that's something that most people are not aware of. Here's another thing, if you're using Identityiq versus Credit Karma, that you also have to think about: inquiries, okay? So where with FICO score, say that you were shopping for a mortgage, okay? And you have multiple inquiries on it because you were shopping for a mortgage. Well, with the new CFPB, they stated that you can shop for a mortgage up to 45 days and it's only one inquiry. However, with the Vantage, if you're shopping for a mortgage and you have 20 inquiries, you just have 20 inquiries. It's not counted as one. Especially even if it's on the same day, then yeah. But if it's multiple days, but even if it's in that 45 day or whatever, it's still counted as 20 inquiries. Where with the FICO score, it's only going to be counted, and you're shopping for a mortgage in that 45 day period. So that's the reason, like, you hear people say, oh, I got my inquiries removed and stuff. Of course you did, because it's under the CFPB. Right? So when you call the credit bureaus and say, hey, I was shopping around for a car or whatever, and you call Experian or something like that over the phone, they'll remove the inquiries because it was in a shorter amount of time period. Because they're Experian, TransUnion, and Equifax, they're using FICO. Because they're using FICO, that's the reason they'll delete the inquiries. But on your Vantage, again, those inquiries will just stay there. So you have to understand this. And for those of you, why are you giving all the game away? I'm giving all the game away because people need to know this. Our community needs to know this. So stick with me, because again, this is stuff that we as a community, if we knew it, it would help us move forward financially. All right? So again, remember that the tax liens on the FICO, they no longer show up. The judgments no longer show up. Inquiries, if it's within, say it's a mortgage within 45 days, that inquiry is only going to count as one. Okay, and you can call the credit bureaus and say, hey, I was shopping for a car loan, or hey, I was shopping for a mortgage, or hey, I was coerced into applying for a credit card that I didn't want, so they high pressured me into it and I didn't want the card, and they will remove that inquiry. Okay, so this is Houston with three-way funding. If you're considering getting the Identityiq program, again, just for this added protection, because a lot of people are in this game using the CPN, it could be your social. You don't want that. Just to give yourself that extra protection and stuff, click the link below and check out the Identityiq. See what they offer. But again, like I said, Credit Karma, it gives you a snapshot. It's free, but at the same time, the data that they're picking up, they're trying to encourage you. Yeah, they'll lie and tell you, yeah, you got a 700 credit score, and you may apply for a credit card and get denied. But even if you get denied, they're still going to make money off of you. So that's another reason that it's so free. It's not free, but to you, because it's a lead that they're selling. But to you, it's like free, but it actually is not accurate information. So if you want accurate information, like I said, Identityiq is what you probably want to take a look at, again, because of this $1 million insurance, identity theft insurance, to protect you. So this is Houston with three-way funding. Again, please remember to comment, like, and share. Thank you.